What's up, everybody? We'll do this little talk here on the word buzz and all the things that go into apparently what life is about. Energy, fluidity, movement. Ooh, that sound. A great sound. 3 greatest sounds in the world. It's one of them right there. We'll see who shows up here. Last show I kind of just shut it down because, well, there's people out here that caught a buzz and they were partying for Voodoo Festival, and I could tell they were just going to be very loud, and so I figured just let them have their good time, and I figured come back here and see who jumps on here. We'll what's up, pink motorcycle? If that was a pink motorcycle that just went by, that would have been hilarious, but it was not pink. And so we'll talk about different types of energy. There we go. Fun. Real time. Real time. What's up, Daniel? Real time fun stuff about like energy backing up. There was cars going. You ever heard that idea? Like, you know, there's memory in traffic, and like that was fun times. I seen some crazy things happen in automobiles yesterday. People wilding out when they're driving. I don't get it. Text message and all that. If you text and you drive, that ain't safe, man. But yeah, just watched. Almost got to see a car accident. So I'll give this like I usually do. I'll give it like 3 more minutes, and before we start. Let me see if I can hold up, y'all. Maybe it won't be so glary over here. Yeah, and then we got a tree too. Works a little better for me. I can see the screen a little better. Oh my god, so many dogs. Hi, dogs. What about Aldrin? So we'll, as people are showing up here, we'll talk about energy and ingestion of substances. Everything is a substance, right? Maybe we'll talk about substance use and look at sounds as substances. Obviously, liquid. Altered states of consciousness. We'll get into that a little bit, maybe. So I'll give it like 2 or 3 more minutes. See who jumps on here. What up, Aldrin? If you can fit them in your belly, man, go for it. If that's what satisfies you, you know, ain't that what it's about? Finding that level of satisfaction and feeling full and feeling like, and that's really essentially what everything is. It's finding that moment, that next moment, that occurrence of satisfaction in life. And it really weaves into these ideas of why people alter their state of consciousness. That's all we ever do. All we do on this planet is we consume things in all regards to alter our states of consciousness. Whether it's a beer, whether it's illicit drugs, whether it's drugs from the doctor, whether it's food, whether we're ingesting through our eyeballs, we go and watch a play, we go watch a movie, whether we're listening to music. Whatever we're doing is always with the expressed purpose to alter or change our perception and our environment and what it is that we're experiencing. Now, we've been trained on a lot of levels to not upgrade our experience to something better, and we've been trained in a lot of ways to do things that would be disadvantageous for our life's betterment, and to do things that actually energize someone else's system by taking energy away from our own, and not participating in things that make us feel good. Everything about culture is always the diseased things that don't make you feel good are always highlighted to do these things, but the things that happen to have some sort of feel good about it, the altering our perception, our awareness, our state of being, to upregulating everything about our life, is never encouraged by anyone, because when you do that, you somehow don't fit into their system of subjugating you and your energy to benefit their whatever it might be. Now, there are times that these organizations can be good. Organizations are not by any means bad as a blanket statement or disempowering. Some are very empowering. But the majority of systems within an economic system rely on people doing things that literally take, the name of this was Buzzzzz, to take your buzz away, to literally that vibration that's occurring, which is your energy, which is your entire system, your currency, your experience, because it, always comes back to this. How are you feeling? How's your experience? This is all that matters. And as soon as you're capable of having a foundation of saying, how's my experience? My experience is good. Now can I step outside of my experience and bring somebody else into the fold or into your auric field or energetic system of upgrading their experience? That's in a good way. That's what you call like grassroots campaign of doing things, of consciousness, in fact, of even, internally blossoming from the inside to, help other systems upregulate. But we have what is quite the opposite in society at large, which is all corporations dealing with selling and using media to disenfranchise, misinform, and to pull and succubus power out of people, so that there's a misrepresentation of energy and power, so that someone has a great experience and a bunch of people are not having so good of one. And so the first thing we should learn to do is find what gives us a buzz. Now, there's all sorts of things that can be used as, people always go, people that do drugs are always trying to to escape reality or whatever. But everyone is. Everyone, no matter what their state of being is, always, 100% of people want to escape their certain, I'm not going to say 100% of people, but most people want to escape their reality in a sense of, I'm sitting here in a ball, in a bubble, at a plateau, at a specific spot, a state of awareness of reality. And sometimes I'm comfortable there, and sometimes you're comfortable there, but there's a lot of times that, well, I'd like a new experience. So you're literally always you're in the business of literally moving the state and awareness of consciousness and everything that you're doing at all times. And sometimes people become addicted to that, which the problem isn't that people are using things to alter states of awareness and consciousness. The dilemma lies in the fact that there is no comfort in this meditation, in the state of being where they're at. That's the dilemma with what everything is an addiction. Whether it's a physical one, whether it's listening to music all the time, whether it's watching that TV show every day, whether it's eating, overeating, whatever it might be, drugs, whatever it might be. These are all things that can be successfully used to alter people's awareness and consciousness. But unless that you have a foundation of being comfortable, for those moments in self when you're at that state of consciousness, then that's what needs to be understood. Is there needs to be a baseline for how you're comfortable, and then going from there, which is you can't always be in flux. You can't be always changing your state of consciousness. So it's not really a balance, but it's more of a platform in which to then create those different states of being out of, which is that meditation, which is the sleeping, which is the, can I sit here and read not even read, just could you sit and be. And from there we find ourselves always finding music, finding dance, finding art, finding some people jobs, sometimes other people. And some people actually, oddly enough, their addiction is quite the opposite. Their addiction is to stillness themselves and not moving states of consciousness, not altering states of awareness. And a lot of people are in that state. Imagine people that you've seen that literally have they're in their job and they're doing what they're doing and they have no motivation or want to move state of consciousness. That is more of a disease than anything. Than the people always trying to do something new. It's equally as unsettling, right? Because they're both a need to do something, right? But when we can get outside of that need to always change, or need to, I've got my job and I'm going to do this, and they both have one is burning the fire out, one is burning the fire too quickly, and the other one is literally throwing water on the fire, or throwing, not allowing growth to occur. And so as humans, we tend to, if we look at our lives in a more holistic fashion, it would be about terms of growth for the body, the mind, and then what we'd call the spirit. But we run into a conundrum, which is going, okay, well, after we lift in our weights and we're doing our push-ups and we're eating right and we're getting bigger and stronger, but then we notice that at some place people start to get weaker and gradually decline and die, and then we go, oh, this physical thing isn't all there is. And so we find our capacity of understanding what is growth. It's a whole different ball game. So then people's minds say, well, hey, what's the use then? To a stuck. So what these people are doing is, as they get older, as they're finding ways to literally alter the consciousness. That is the whole gambit. That's the whole game we play here, is going to different states of awareness, altering states of consciousness, and finding things to assist us, motivate us, or help us to do that. And they can be anything. It can be something. Some people sitting underneath a tree is the right thing, but somebody that's been sitting underneath the tree for 10 years, well, the right thing for that person may be to be doing the complete, what you'd say as a polar opposite. So we find that there's all sorts of ways in which to increase our buzz, our vibration, our state of awareness, our consciousness of anything. Got this little light here, so I'm gonna check. Hey, what's up, puppy head? What you doing, baby? Hi. Nice to see you. What you doing? Oh, you with you guys? Nice to see you. I had a little puppy time right there. Let me get this thing fixed up though, y'all. Because I got a little glare on the screen. So, yeah. Yeah, Bat. I'll check that out as soon as I get off here, man. Electric towel, exactly. Consume, assume, presume. And yeah, we'll go a little deeper here on that. And this is just where the thing's gonna sit for now, because the sun is kind of at a weird angle here. Once we get to that point of understanding what consumption actually is, and realizing that our our habits as consumers, that when you fast, when you really come to terms with consumption, it changes a lot of things. It changes things mentally. It obviously changes things in your biology, and but mostly it's changing your awareness of what the human is. As if you no longer need to be a consumer, if you don't need to consume, obviously to the degree and the like how much people consume. If we don't need to do that, it starts to really alter a lot of things. Just the way that you view the world, the way that you view the most. Usually you assume this. The assumption about consumption is that you assume you need to consume. And then all of a sudden you go, well, I don't really need to consume that. And all of a sudden the value, because we're brought up in this society where we say, oh, you need to eat food because it gives you energy. There's calories in there, there's proteins in there, there's all these things. And you need to consume something, so you must feed on something to stay alive. But when you fast, then that presumption that you have, that assumption that you've made about how much you need to consume, it starts to vanish. It becomes illusory, because it was illusory. And then you come to higher terms of going, what am I actually made of? If these things aren't powering me the way that I thought they were, I was told for my entire life that I needed to eat these certain things, because these certain things are going to give me the fuel that I need to live, to move, to think. But all of a sudden you find that consuming actually, apparently I don't need as much, and in fact I can do a lot more with a lot less. And yeah, Bap, I'll get to that for sure, certainly. What's up, John Steven Fernandez? Art by Bap, I hear you there, man. That is definitely. I got through that phase. I was in that phase for a while, and it's funny now that I've kind of got out of that phase. Like, I always felt like there was something I had to do. I have all this knowledge. There's something I have to do with it. As soon as I got to past that stage, I said, well, it's become a lot more comfortable. And it's become actually more effective, because I have less care of like going, you know what, if this happens to, before I was like, well, this knowledge is vital, people need it, and I need to get it out to people. And then once I said, well, just get to whoever it needs to, whenever it needs to, once I accepted that, man, it was a lot more comfy, a lot more cozy. Yeah, Reza, that is the essence of what we were just talking about. Yeah, why is it that even though we know we are immortal and each life form has a certain time limit, we consume another's life, aka food, thinking we're extending our own time. Yeah, well, Reza, I mean, the reality obviously is the number of people that truly believe they're immortal is I don't know if, here, everybody put your answer in beneath. Let me know, what percentage of people do you think really believe they're immortal? What percentage? And then we'll go on with that in a second. And Electric Towel, a sound and body consumes the host. Yeah, to a degree it consumes. Yeah, I like that you put quotes around that, because, when you get into the immortal cell theory and how George Carey's work, that cells aren't really consuming anything. But I get what you're saying. I know what you mean. Yeah. What's up, Ripe Soul? Oh, you sun gazed at noon? That's crazy. Yeah. There you go, Electric Towel. There it is. You can't have the. Every experience that you have is relative to everything. Like, I need the earth to be walking, right? What up, DJ? Ripe Soul, that's crazy. Awesome stuff. I guess you learn you can't really if you have anything important to do at work, You can't be breathing in and out the universe at noon like that. You can't be staring at the sun for half an hour. or maybe it helped your job, huh? What's up, Jude Meister? Yeah, Jude Meister, I'm good. Here, I'm all put in order. Although I did last night have some spirit in me, so that's maybe where I went. Yeah, that's crazy, Ripe Soul. That's out of control. What up, freak? Okay, so yeah, I think y'all got really big percentages. Really, you think Gary 7%? Y'all think that much? I'm somewhere in the realm of where Jude Meister is. I'm in the fractions of percentage. I don't know. I think that we talking, if there's 7 billion, for it to be 1%, that would mean that 7 million people would have to believe that, like really believe that. I don't know. I might, but then again, you got a lot of people that are in other cultures that it's kind of assumed that they think that, but do they really? That's always the thing. Is like, when do people really believe what their religion says? Do they really believe it? So yeah, interesting. And Reza 9%. Man, see, 10% of people you think that's interesting. I don't even know, like, is that a party conversation? You know what I mean? Bring that up at do people really think that? I don't know. Interesting. Zet Chrono. Use it as fuel. Get help. Everybody needs help with everything, man. Obsession, you could probably just drop that. There's what we just talking about. There's 7 billion people. See, so let's cut that in half, and then we cut it into let's get into kind of a maybe 100 million people possibly that you could obsess about. So you should just fractionate that obsession you have with one person to be obsessed with 100 million people. Makes it easier. Well, when was I looking God like Jude Meister? Ripe Soul, we were guessing percentages on how many people really think that they're immortal. Well, thank you, Ripe Soul. Yeah, Ripe Soul. Yeah, I don't believe that number either by any stretch of the imagination. But it's what we're working with. You think there's way less, huh? Ripe Soul, how many you think? Oh, let's hear it. Here, we'll just do question time because this is fun. How many people you really think are on the planet? Everybody, feel free to comment over here. Oh yeah, last night. Oh, you see Jude Meister. You see my my outfit. Not too many people saw it. It was just kind of like I was out and I was going to do that show, but I was like, well, let me just go ahead and I'll just be funny for a second. You like that? Yeah. Electric Tower, interesting dynamic. Yeah, it tends to have that kind of built into it, but it's also very weird that so many religions preach some afterlife, right? So then they shouldn't have any fear of death yet. Yeah, it's an interesting set of programs that go into the mindset. Right, so there we go. Yeah, that's where I was. Love Katesh. There we go. There's I'm agreeing with Katesh here, and I'm sure she said that kind of tongue-in-cheek, laughingly. But yeah, everyone should become obsessed with themselves. If you become obsessed with yourselves, then you'll start doing things that actually increase your energetic potential. Thereby, the capacity for you to help other people is more. Like, so this goes into a lot of the videos I've made, saying, you know, being selfish is very important. Be self-obsessed. Be the center of your own universe. That's what you're supposed to be. Everyone's supposed to be that. That doesn't mean you become an egomaniacal freak and everything is about you, because, you know, but it gives you, by first starting off with, you know, when you jump in the shower, you know what, you better be self-obsessed, or else you're going to come out and still dirty, you know what I mean? You better be obsessed with, like, hey, where am I going to clean myself if you jump in the shower, right? So these kind of ideas are like really how you, by focusing on yourself, you give more power to everything around you. If I didn't focus on my capacity to understand language, if I didn't focus on, you know, getting enough money together to get a computer, I wouldn't be able to sit out here and serve all of you in this regard, you know? And I wouldn't, you know, if I didn't go the route of finding a cool hat, I'd be looking kind of like a slob, you know, rather have a little bit of style, so now people go, oh, he cares about himself. Yes. And so it gives me an avenue to use all of the energy that I poured into myself, all of the buzz, as we get back to the beginning. Ah, here we go. So yeah, so the purpose being that when people are self-selective and self-obsessed, you make decisions. Like, I was talking to a friend of mine the other day about, I don't put these clothes on for me. I put them on so that when people look at what I'm wearing, they have to look at me. I don't have to look at myself. So I choose to dress in a way that other people go, oh, that's maybe inspiring to them. That's maybe, oh, that's nice. You know, it makes their day better. And why do women dress up and look nice? Why? So that everybody can go, oh, look at the beautiful woman. Look at this wonder, right? So that obsession is, you know, obviously we can take that way too far and become, you know, egomaniacal freaks that don't, you know, use energy to help others. But the first step is always to put your own oxygen mask on first. I have a little bit of glare, y'all. We're gonna have to play sideways for a second, maybe, so I can read what you're all saying, because the sun has just started beaming. So let me see what y'all had to say.
Like spiders in my hair.
Oh man, was that a lot of right? So there was a lot of lag during my little. Well. Jude, I'm gonna go look at I'm gonna look at that right now. The sun is very bright today. It's definitely way more white than it is yellow. I don't know I don't know that it'd be silver. But now, now that I just did that, I can't read anything of any of your comments right now. Because now I got that little You know, when you haven't sun gazed in a while, and then you look at the sun and you got that spot in your vision. Now I can't see right now. So should I pull out some tarot cards? You guys want to play with the tarot for a little bit? Whoever's in here, because that will kind of because I can't really read the screen too much here. Let me try to. Super sun dots. Yeah, like Dippin' Dots. Yeah, that's not a lot of cities have magic stores. It's few and far between. I mean, there's a lot down here, obviously, but So what's next, y'all? I think I may do a little bit of sun gaze in a second here, and then maybe jump back on here a little bit later though. I could be doing some tarot. Y'all, I was saying y'all want me to do some tarot cards. Yeah, see, this is copy right now, y'all. So check it out. This is real choppy right now because I think a couple people showed up and they're using the internet here too. So like it's succubusing some of the energy off of this. Some of my Jude Meister. And thanks for the email. I'm still here though. So check it out, y'all. I guess I'll try to come back on here maybe like, I don't know, just is everybody here that's on here right now, do you all get things like immediately that says that I'm broadcasting? All of you are getting notifications? Or did you just like happen upon it and luck upon it that you saw it? Because most of the time it's luck. Damn. So you don't Rape Soul, you don't even get, you didn't click on the double hit the bell twice, because there's like two options. It will say it will give you notifications sometimes, and it will give you notifications all the time. Man, Jessica, you don't, man, nobody gets no. You two be playing, man. I don't know. I wish there was a better way to do it. Well, try like I told most people. Try again. You know, what up, Core? Try unsubscribing and resubscribing to me, and then re-clicking and see if that works. But ain't really shit you can do when YouTube be fucking with things. What you gonna do? What up, Core, though? How you been, man? Yeah, right, so there you go, that little bell over there in the corner. Okay, well, I guess it's kind of... No, it's telling me back. So, as soon as I think it's working well, it goes and screws up. Yeah, electric towel, whatever that might be. You know, sometimes it's like, what's that Alan Watts bit about? He says everyone secretly believes they're the only ones on the earth.
There's a 99.9% chance.
Well, thank you, Core. Yeah, I seen you out there eating the yellow breakfast, man. You went all yellow, huh? So, can anybody else see the moon and the sun right now? Because we on this right now, like, because I can still the sun is right there. The moon is just beaming right there. So it's always interesting to look at. Santos. Yeah, Santos beer. I don't know that I know. There's a place down here. There's a bar called Santos, but I don't know the brand. Okay, well, I guess I'll kick it for a little bit longer on here then. Excuse me, because I guess it got a little better connection now. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Might have something to do with the sun rays. Oh, excuse me. Might have something to do with the sun rays. Oh, St. Arnold's. Yeah, I know St. Arnold's. I know all about St. Arnold's. Yeah. So, what do you guys want to get into here? What do you want to jam out to? A little bit more on the beer buzzing. That's why I started. I guess a bunch of you that just got here didn't hear the beginning. The beginning where we were talking about the word buzz. Billy Madison, buzz. Tips for loosening the base of your spine. Huh. Yeah, and you can obviously get into like massage, and you can get into pins and needles, man. Find somebody to throw some needles in you. You know, that's one of the best ways, especially if you know it to be energetic. Like some people, if you already have a good diet, you could just have literally kind of energy blocks in the system, and just get an overhaul. Just go get a spend the money and find yourself a good acupuncturist, and go and just do like a major overhaul. You'll find your system to like. I've been to some acupuncturists that are just amazing, and they can really rewires and reframes your system. So I think a lot of acupuncture. If you have an acute injury, okie dokie. Well, apparently, it's coming and going today. But where was I finishing up? Oh yeah, with the acupuncturist. That's a great way to do that. To loosen up the base of the spine. Yeah. Aldrin, you want that? What up, Danny? Alright, Katesh. Be well in all your endeavors. Or exquisite. MJ and tequila, is that safe? Oh, you know what? As we're on that line of beyond just the standard standard ways of kind of opening up energy centers and channels, we'll dig right into this. Of course, marijuana and tequila. Yeah. Obviously, some people work better with different types of spirit, whether it's the liquid or it's the smokable variety. But those can also lead to the things like dancing. Dancing is a great way of loosening up the base of the spine. Simple things like that. If you're well behind the game, acupuncturist first. Find yourself some lubricants. some things will give you the buzz, which is literally that vibration where this video started. And, you know, getting into that dance, move the kunda buffer, you know, get into the kundalini if you want to call it that, or if you just want to say energy. But finding ways of moving your hips, hula hooping, things like this. Those are the simple, practical ways of doing it. If you don't want to go, you know, get needles jammed in your body. But yeah, tequila is one of my favorite ways of inducing inducing some energy into the spine. Satan, silent assassination through amplified neurons. What up, Sarah De here? How you been? Satan. Oh man, can I explain to you? I've never done IV meth, man, but as all things uppers and downers and whatnot, it seems like you'd be putting a lot more energy into your system, and most people, because they don't have the mentality and their brain power to handle that, probably shouldn't be putting more energy into the body. This actually gets into like the semen retention, and I'll put this part of this, I'll include in the semen retention video that I do, because we've all, you know, most people on here have heard me discuss the idea of energy and holding it in the body and how to move it. So there's reasons that some people, you know, because obviously there's a use for that drug for some people in micro doses, where, you know, others not a great idea. So there's always about leveling out, because drugs are drugs. You know, everything is a substance. Anything we put in our bodies. But what does it do spiritually? I mean, really, again, this comes back to, you know, amplifying energy of the mind, and obviously that then in turn becomes actions. You know, doing lots of things, cleaning the house and cleaning the tools that clean the house with. But on a spiritual level, I don't know, man. That's a really interesting question. I'll try to go a little deeper on that when I get into the semen retention video, and I'll do an kind of like a parallel with drugs and whatnot. Speak of the force as I see it. It appears to be in just about anything. It's just a matter of extracting it. The force is essentially, the force to me could be the sight of a beer and my desire that I want to drink that beer. That could be force. It could be in a painting. It could be in music. The force could be something as simple as a mundane task. Or it could be something as exotic and pleasurable as I want a vacation in a year to some far away land, and you know, these things can all be part of what the force is, what that energy is, what the underlining imagination. Imagination is the force. The force is your imagination. So we live in this giant etheric electrical universe that is basically a meshing of an entire system that we find ourselves in and out of on different wavelengths, levels, states of consciousness, as we're getting into, and it becomes, the force is the sense of our imagination to web itself into our energy system, and to express it that way, that we find the imagination and say we have enough energy to actually get what we want out of this experience, to find that our imagination, the only thing it really needs is a little bit of fuel, and that is the force. The force is like, hey, what is it? The underpinnings of all of reality, again, it's desire, then creation, desire then turns into creation. And that's the loop. That's the it's not a loop, it's more of a, this is the difference between a spiral and a loop. A loop would be like, it would be the same, I want this and then I get this, here's the result. I take this and I get this, that's a loop. But that spirituality of that is actually, as I've kind of explained before, this is the taking an experience and altering it slightly to get a leveling up. So as you're making a circle, if you level up, you're making a spiral. And so that's the idea of changing slight things in the mind of like, hey, I used to like just something simple, like I like Budweiser. But then all of a sudden I start to expand my awareness, and all of a sudden, before you know it, I have levels of understanding about something. Is, to me it was beer, now it's all of these microbrews and whatever. Now we can use that same concept into an automobile. Somebody becomes fascinated with automobiles, so there's their desire or fascination with something, their fascination, then desire to create, and then that turns into a spiritual experience. Look at a Lamborghini, look at a Ferrari. That's a piece of machinery that's like, you know what I mean? There's some passion that goes into that. A Lamborghini, the passion is put into producing one of those cars by hand. Man, look at that. That's the outpouring of all of that force, that desire, that, you know, how do we make our imagination become evident in front of us in 3D? And if we can spiral that is the convexing and the vortexing. That's the pressure, that taking all of our ideas and putting it into something that becomes that kind of pinpoint focus to say, hey, reality gets created through here. This is my imagination. This is what I want to happen. Now, in the physical world, what we see as the result of that is a Lamborghini. In the spiritual world, in the magical world, in the metaverse, is I imagine that I want a Lamborghini, and it comes to me. That's the difference. I don't have to produce it with the physical hands, you know, like. But nonetheless, those are both, you know, parts of spiritual experience. Somebody's spiritual experience and journey was, I love the idea that I create a Lamborghini. Well, I might not love the idea to create a Lamborghini, but I would like to drive one. So both spiritual experiences, you know, and accessing those are, you know, one person's passion and desire turns out to be this really cool thing. And so that is essentially what the force is. The force is imagination and desire that turns then into whatever. Like a lot of people get into this. You gotta act. You gotta do an action. You have to work with. You've gotta work with God. You gotta you know. But you don't, because you already are that thing. You already are the imagination. So you plant the seed and you expect it. And so you get out of that zone of thinking that there's something that you must do to. Because that's, you know, when you're children, you want to eat that, you want the dessert, you got to eat your, you know, this first. You want that, you got to do this first. And so the concept is drilled into us at a very early age that there's something that you must do to get your reward. But the rule of the universe is not, the rule of the universe was that you were given life. Here it is. Gift. It's free. What would you like to do? Here's the genie. Rub the lamp. What do you want? That's the real truth. That's the deepest of truths. Now we're in a system that we have to somehow kind of deprogram. So yeah, I think it ended at a decent time, but okay, we're back. A ripe soul. You were a stoner for 5 years and then you didn't want to be high anymore. I know the feeling, man. I've gone through that with a lot of things. I did that with weed a long time ago. I did that with alcohol. I did that with a lot of different things. They're just like, this isn't the time or place or the effect I want on my life. I don't want this to be part of it. Just simple things. Like other times, like, no, this is what I enjoy. And other times, like, nope. And that became, you know, the ability to just turn a switch on or off when you feel like that's part of your life. Eating, you know, because once I did that really long fast, a lot of things became more of like switches for me. Like, oh, okay, this is just a choice. Is this giving me an experience I want? Yeah, I hear about that, man. That shift that you're talking about. That's you know, everyone has that. It's just a little bit of a, where is the just past there in the mind. You get in that place where, okay, I think the shift is this, that people go from thinking very physical world exists to the world is meta. The world is, this is the after. What we have here is the result of this. Where we lived in a world where this is what we have. The physicality is what we are. And I think the shift is literally that, on an individual basis for people, to go from the shifting of being a materialist to being a metaphysician. I like those words, metaphysician. That's the shift, which then allows you, because now all of a sudden there is no dependency on things physically, but it becomes a mental game of what is it that I require here to improve or alter my state of consciousness. Is it something physical? Is it breathing? Is it staring into the sun? What things can we do that give us, you know, amounts of energy and freedom to do things, and how do we explore and participate in those things to alter? And usually, you know, we think of it, there is some upgrading, there's higher levels, you know. People get into this big thing, they say, oh, no one's better than anyone. Well, that's just not true. It's a different state of consciousness. Everybody is just valuable the way they are. But certainly, if I'm gonna go out for the night and I have a limo driver, I'm gonna hope it's not a 4-year-old. The person, you know, I'm gonna hope it's a trained professional. Of course, that trained professional is better than, you know, that just happens to be the way it is. That there is some sort of, it's an organic caste system. It's not like verbalized. It just is experiential. Like, you know, it's what you're capable of doing. That's all it is. And so we just upgrade our experience. What do we become better and more capable at doing? And once we stop thinking it's physical form that's creating it, and start going, oh, this is just a mindverse, a metaverse, things alter. That's the big shift. Yeah, Jude Meister, that sometimes the repetition, as I'm going backwards, I'm at 5:11 right now for anybody, so I'm like 15 minutes behind you guys. But I'm just answering, or just commenting on Jude Meister's, sometimes we find the perfect chemical clarity and want to repeat it. Yeah, there's plenty of things that give you all sorts of experiences and you want to repeat that. You want to be like scientifically verifiable experience. Let's repeat that. Oh, that felt good. Let's do that again. So many things give us that grasping at that event and want to hold on to it. It become very, it's my event, my thing, but it's like trying to grasp water. And just, as you put your hand, it goes out of your hands, but if you were just to cup your hands and allow the experience, that's what, yeah, it's, I mean, that's the only lesson here that's the number one thing going on this planet. That's the lesson to be taught, to be learned, to be re-understood, or whatever it is, or to understand, to overstand these kind of, what is it to be a human? What is it to be godlike? What is it to be, you know, in this physical form? Groping in the dark at the weirdness of everything. What's up, MK High Tech? We've been all over the place. We just, it was about catching a buzz. How to vary, and, you know, it's not always about, let me go a little farther here. Everybody's always like, raise your vibration. Like, no, slow down. You don't have to raise anything. It's if you're happy at your frequency, stay there. If you're enjoying it, if you're enjoying your experience, stay there, or alter your frequency. It doesn't have to go higher. Some people don't want a higher frequency. You ever listen to some music and then if you turned up the frequency, it might hurt your ears. It doesn't sound as good. It's not raise your frequency high. There we go. So that shamanic drum is there for a reason, because it gives somewhat of a grounding. It's a grounding thing. It gives you the experience in physical form. If you just raised your vibration until you just like got out of body or floated off of Earth, this is the game. Then you'd end up being floating out there, and you'd be like, okay, this is great, but can I get some physicality? Can I get an experience? Can I get? And you would immediately want to lower your frequency. You'd want to lower your vibration. And so what we always talk about is alter your experience if it's not the one that you desire. But if it is the one you desire, well, then be comfortable in it. Request the experience the experience, participate in it, be aware of it, enjoy it, and then what's next? What would you like to create now? You want to take a nap? Cool. What do you want to create? Just altering, shifting, adjusting, little knobs, dials. You don't just turn them all up, turn the frequencies up. That's you'll blow out the whole system. You'll break everything. What up, Zach Corona? Why do some people find earth signs to be boring? I don't know. I don't chop up and dissect people that way usually. I don't, I've had one friend that I know was an earth sign, like, because I only got into like knowing people's signs only more recently, and I never really asked people like, what's your sign? But no, he wasn't boring. He was very, very different. He was very grounded. Everything was very earthy about him. But I mean, it might be that because they don't have like expansive mind altering. They're not like all over the place, you know. That could be it. People like spasmodic nature of people running around being foolish. It's probably not going to be an earth sign. And so I'm back at 5:13, so I guess I'm well behind you guys. Ripe Soul, I don't know about if being an Aquarius amplifies the Aquarian energies. It seems like if you nested eggs inside of each other, it would probably have something more energetic, more energy for people. You know, it's 11:11 as I look up here. 11 people, 11 thumbs. That's pretty funny. It appears as it could be if you nest a frequency inside of a frequency, like you hit a C note here and the next C note up. If we think of it that way, the Aquarian age, the Aquarian person, yeah. So yeah, I suppose. What up, State of Readiness? Ripe Soul, husk and activated charcoal in the morning. I suppose so. As long as you're not going to be consuming anything that is nutritious anytime thereafter, because those two things will just suck up the nutrition out of it. So you'd want to take those things with the expressed intent of cleansing. And so if you were using a better concept of a diet, you'd wake up in the morning, you would drink juice, I would assume, and then a little later activated charcoal and psyllium husk, and then throughout the day you'd wait a while. I would choose to eat later in the day, like sundown, and then that would be a better time to actually consume psyllium and charcoal. And again, I think another time would be at the end of the day, because then as your body is actually going through this, you know, as you're sleeping, you're going through, as I told everybody, look up the Tau clock of organs, and you can see what organs will be, you know, cleaning themselves. So now all of a sudden your body is actually prepped and ready with the psyllium husk to absorb all of those toxins that you've then released into the small and large intestines to be, you know, removed out of the body in the morning, which is where you'd find the ritualistic use of coffee to be a good idea, because then it pushes the things out. Yeah, right, so you don't really need to consume the charcoal if you're using the urine, but, you know, give it a shot, see what it does for your system. I mean, you know, if we're not talking about any heavy duty shit, like something simple as that, you could just, you know, see what it does for your system. Give it a shot. Ripe Soul, is it really the cure-all? It appears to me from most of my adventures into consuming it to be quite a miraculous substance. It does come out of your body, and if you were, as I like to say to people, if you were the architect of the universe and you were the architect of your body and you want to create something that was of the highest form, you would create an onboard system that allowed you to fix the ship while it was doing whatever it was doing. You wouldn't have to go find something outside of yourself, because if you're self-substantiated, that you wouldn't need to go find anything outside of yourself to make you, you know, you'd have an onboard healing system. So to me it seems to be such. Right, so I don't know what was that last thing you said. You might sip the teat. I don't understand that, but it's... What up, Sticky Icky? Yeah, your energy. Yeah. Yeah, I'll pull him out in 1 second, Lion Strong. Lion just come in the room. He said, pull me a card. No! There we go, Electric Towel. Katesh, I'm assuming you're talking about cigarettes, or are you talking about tobacco, or you gonna smoke herb, or you gonna smoke tobacco? If it's straight good tobacco, oh, herb. If you ain't smoked like that, man, I mean. I mean, for me, I don't even smoke like that anymore, you know. But for me, I'm good. I just touch it up one time. I'm good. You know, I try to. I know. I expressly make sure I know where I'm getting it from, what it's about, you know, what kind of strain it is. But yeah, these cigarettes these days, yeah, they're awful. Tobacco though, tobacco itself, very good substance, but shouldn't be used the way it's used these days. You know, healthy, I think it depends on how unhealthy someone is and how much they need it in their life, though, you know what I mean? Like, some people I don't think is healthy at all to really. And again, you have to go, again, there's different types of medicine in each kind of strain, so some people might want a strain. Okay, yeah, so if there was a tribe of people and I was creating a calendar, I would probably say that weed would be like a once a week ritual type thing. I would find like 7 days would be where I'd find tobacco to be more of a daily shamanic activity. I would find, and it also obviously be relevant to climate, but I could see tobacco being used more regularly, and herb being used weekly. And I'd find probably of other substances, alcohol would probably be, depending on, again, where, it'd probably be a daily thing, but it'd be in much different quantities, more of a European mindset, you know, having and I've talked about this before, and this is via Terence McKenna, talking about the kind of cultures that we live in, the culture that we live in that has, you know, it rests upon nicotine, caffeine, and uppers and these things that make people work, and when they're used, it's actually used in the wrong time of day. Like, if you wanted a productive, creative, empathetic society, you would have them not consume coffee in the beginning of the day, but you would want them to use that in the middle of the day, and you'd want them actually probably to have a drink, like drink wine possibly earlier in the day to relax and calm the person. And so you'd find a different rhythm in a more balanced, structured society that wasn't just about production and output. That they would use the substances and the chemicals in a very much more responsible and engaged pattern of understanding what am I getting out of this and what are we creating here, instead of just nicotine, caffeine, then beer on the weekends, right? To just blow off the steam and literally waste away all of the energy that you've been building up for a week. So yeah, Ripe Soul, probably the largest weed smoking per capita in the world. Maybe. It's funny, like, yeah, now that it's become a business and it's become an economically profitable business, and it's totally changed the perception of it changes and the use of it changes. Oh yeah, Ripe Soul, and see, that's the thing is, you said you've seen marijuana send people into bed. Yeah, every drug has the capacity to do that. And on top of it, if you don't know exactly what it is, you could say, oh, marijuana did that. And you really have to go, well, was that all it was? Which way did they, develop that? Did they put anything else in it? Like, we can say, like, yo, all of these people in this world that are getting lung cancer, getting killing themselves from cigarettes, and we go tobacco's killing people, and then I just have to go just put the brakes on that. Tobacco is not as addictive as they tell you it is, and tobacco itself isn't killing people. It's the 500 different chemicals and garbage that they put in it that's doing all of that. So there's the 500 little add-ons, and then everybody goes, look at that there plant. Because it's always an assault in the plant life. Look at that plant there. Look at that tobacco plant. Tobacco is killing people. It's evil. No, it hasn't been. It never was. It never will be. But all of the chemicals they put into it. So this even gets into every other thing. We can even get into like the problems with beer. And, getting into how it used to be healthy and then pasteurizing it and taking all of its qualities of health away. And then we get into all of these other kinds of alcohols which become like malt beverages. And these malt beverages are not a good idea for 1,000 reasons. And so there's always that, like, that thing that we go, okay, that's the problem, that's the weed, the tobacco, the beer, and in reality, like, no, it's because it's all been tampered with, fully tampered with. What up, Sun Soul? MK High Tech, you know your strands. There you go. Zach Chrono, that's, that's everybody. Everybody knows that. Yeah. You said when you try to fast, it's funny because how I can fast and not eat at all, but on days you try to eat less, you end up eating a lot. Yeah, it works the opposite for me too. Like if I wake up, if I have an intention of fasting, then it's on my mind that I want to fast. But if I just wake up and find myself like, okay, I've gone through, it's 3 o'clock and I haven't eaten anything, I'm like, oh, here's a good time to start fasting. But if I go like, oh, I'm gonna start fasting tomorrow, I wake up and I'm like, I'm hungry, I need to eat something. Yeah, MK High Tech. Yeah, there's not a lot of things people can really OD on. That's really, it's always, when we talk about this stuff, are we talking about the real, original, organic variety that grows without all of the sprays and the chemicals and nonsense. Getting to that point, there's not really anything on this earth that isn't of value and benefit to food and for healing and as medicine, you know. Ripe Soul, of course, always just go to one of my other videos and put it beneath. Just put a comment, because then I'll get it, a comment that, because I'm not going to be able to read these later. Yeah, tobacco, yeah, Core, tobacco is excellent, man. Like, again, whenever people think of it, they just have this idea, oh, smoking 2-3 packs a day, lung cancer, stinking, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, actually, tobacco smells good. And when it's not mixed up with all the chemicals, it has a lot of quality effects. Like, it's really a medicine. It would really be healing the cancer. It's really like doing things for altering states of consciousness. That's, we always get back to that. But there you go, the Hopi ceremonial tobacco. Yeah, a while ago I'd had some ceremonial tobacco. I've done a retreat years ago with somebody that I would tell everybody to check out if you haven't seen his work. Daniel Vitalis. His new stuff, I don't really know what he's doing now. I know he goes through all of these. He's been in a lot of different states of consciousness. And years ago, when he was really into the vegetarian vegan thing, he got hardcore into the vegan thing, which he's a prime example of what happens when you go too hardcore with vegan, because he went so hardcore with vegan that he came out the other side. He's like a hunting bowman, meat eating raw, like eating the raw animals. Like, the dude's genius. He's a great dude. But anyways, when I was checking out his things, and I went and I did a retreat with him. Like, I spent like 2 days with this dude. Where was I getting to? Yeah, his videos. Look at his older work, maybe from like 8-9 years ago, on water. He studied like Schauberger stuff and all of these other great water gurus, and his stuff on water is excellent. It's really early stuff. So anything you want to know about, and he's got a great website called, I'll plug his website. It's called findaspring.com. Y'all should check it out. Find a Spring. I actually used it quite a bit whenever I used to live up in the Northeast, to find a spring and go get myself spring water. Whenever I did my fast, I was going harvesting spring water. So yeah, he's got really great knowledge on the waters and energy inside of water. Am I drinking a Colt 45? I am not. You know what? I don't think I've ever drank a Colt. As much of the other like nasty garbage ass liquor, I've had most of it. But what's up, buddy? But I don't think I've ever had a Colt. No. I mean, I drank lots of OE. A 40 of OE. 40 OE and some greenery. Hey, Ripe Soul. Sometimes here's a weird thing. I don't always get, just like you guys don't get informed that I'm doing a show. Sometimes I don't get informed that people make comments, because I have the studio and then I have the YouTube, and I'll click on the YouTube and I'll click on the studio, and different comments will show up. And sometimes they won't even show up, and I'll be at a video, I'm like, oh, I didn't see this comment. Like, I'll go back and watch one of my videos, but like, notice that I didn't even get a comment. So, man, I don't know. And too, dude, like, I got a lot of emails and things from people. So like, if I did overlook it, you know, obviously, but a lot of it is mainly just, you know, I don't see everything that people get to me. Leafonly.com. Yeah, cool. Corey said, so you can get ceremonial tobacco seeds from there, huh? That's cool. Sticky Icky, what would you get? Okay, we're back. So yeah, I mean, spring water, man. Like, there's plenty of good reason to drink spring water, and especially if you don't have the cash to be out there. You know, some people got their finances not squared away, man. So like, spring water is going to be a better source than spending the, $1 a gallon for the distilled, and some people ain't got $200 just to be shelling out. I mean, to get a distiller. So, and spring water is a great little adventure, and it gets you outdoors, man, and it gets you like. Spring water hunting is fun, man. Zeta Chrono, do I believe in the alpha male, beta male concept, social construct shit? I think it's more of a social construct, but there seems to be something intrinsically inside everyone that kind of puts them in a different place. It's kind of like a harder, like saying, oh, are you seeded from the gods? Are you connected in this bloodline? I mean, that kind of it speaks to that kind of what energies are in people. So when we say alpha male, beta male, etc., I think you're going to find more alpha males tend to be probably fire signs. I mean, Leo, like how many Leos out there going to be like really like, I'm an alpha, but they don't even know why they have motivated that whole motivation to be like that, but it's actually written in the stars, that kind of thing. But like through all this, I'm an omega male. How's that? Is that even a thing? I'm omega man. why everybody out here trying to be alpha? The beginning and the end, right? Like you want to start shit, I can end it. The omega.
So really deep down he knows that she was going to be okay with it. This way she doesn't.
Oh, nice, dude.
Wow.
All right, Corey. Well, hey, Corey, you have my email, right? Email me that. Sticky Icky. Yeah, I hear you, man. I really do hear you on that, but you know what I mean? There is that, some people out here like don't have lots of financial resources, so I speak to those kind of people too. And again, I think it's a fun little adventure, man. Not to mention, and on his website, there's a bunch of different information, people that provide like TDS meters. They give you the total dissolved solids. They give you the temperature of the spring. They give you about, yeah, I mean, and it's just, again, it's really, having a little trip, a little adventure, and being out in the world, in the wilderness. Yeah, and Sticky Icky, again, metals, most of them aren't going to be having TDS of metals. They're going to be having TDS dissolved solids of rock. And that rock is not going to be necessarily harmful to the system where metals would be. But, yeah, again, dude, obviously distilled, this seems to be the highest form, right? Yeah, spring water is, and you could go as far to look into, I just said his name. Here, let me squeeze my ear, maybe that will help. The water guy, the really, it's stuck there in my brain, like I can feel it, right there. Anyways, he always spoke of the benefits of spring water, and I just said his name a minute ago. Not Andrew Weber. Andrew Weber talks about distilled. I don't know why. I might be. It might be because of the beer. Short-term memory loss. It's not just weed, dude. Yeah, Zach Crono, I heard. Yeah, I hear you. You seem like you want to be a little bit more fire sign. Yeah, right. So you can I'm not the specialist on that. I do have other friends that know. I actually have a friend that went to weed college. Let's keep happening. Yeah. So maybe I'll get him on and do a show if everybody's really interested in the terpenes and the CBDs and the THC, and I mean this dude knows his stuff. So maybe I'll do a show with him. I don't know the ins and outs, the cannabinoids and everything of that level of. I don't got my PhD. My PhD in THC. What up, Joey Scott? Yeah, but like, I mean, Jordan definitely. I mean, holler at her. So yeah, about 20 minutes ago, somebody asked me to pull a card. Oh yeah, of course it was Lionstrong. Lionstrong, you asked me to pull a card for you. I'm gonna pull them out now. Let's see what's up. Because everybody always wants to know about women's. They want to know about the women. What's going on with them ladies? I'm gonna grab them. We'll see. Was that really your jam? Was it really? I was actually gonna make a comment on how awful that music was, but let us see what we have here.
We used to have two. Oh, really? It's so fun. I'm just not good.
Well, hey, and future reference for everybody here. If anybody ever wants to do like one-on-one with, I'll pull the whole deck out. If you want to know like deeper, more meaningful things, rather than just this kind of just a little bit of the major arcana. But if anybody y'all wants to do like one-on-ones, let me know. We could do one-on-ones and we can play with the cards. So what did you want to know, Lion? You want to know? It's trash, but I can't help to like it. Yeah, I understand. There's a certain time and place for it, you know what I mean?
Wow, wait, we gotta find that one.
I ain't trying to listen to classical music in the club.
Just the guy, like,
But I ain't trying to be at home listening to club music. Alright, y'all. We back again. Let's see. What's up, my dude? You want to know what? See, Lion Strong. I don't know really how I could get a read off of these cards with that. You know what I mean? Like the question got to be a little more. Think of something more like yes and no variety ish. I don't know, man, because you know, like if I pull out this card right here, what am I gonna tell you? I'm gonna tell you she gonna look. I'll tell you what she gonna look like. She gonna look like death. Your girl about to look like death. You know, see, so the answer to this card, so the answers are in the form of symbols. I don't really know how to answer that, man. You know what I mean? But she gonna look like death. You attracted some hot and dirty, nasty. I mean, it is the season for the death-looking chicks. Yeah, I'm guessing that C was supposed to be an S, huh? Oh, that's right, Algin. You asked me about this earlier. You got to go to church. What's it gonna? Here, I'll do this. What's your church experience gonna look like? It's gonna look like this card. Oh, and this is literally because you kind of like you awoke folk. You got a little bit of brain. You know what's going on. This is the Hanged Man. And see, now interestingly enough, because this deck is from this is the tarot from the church, and usually the Hanged Man is himself holding him upside down. And in this version, it's actually someone holding the devil upside down. And it's this way. So yours was upside down Hanged Man. So funny, like, see how this always works, y'all? If everyone sees, this is like, that is essentially the best and most exact card for literally what you're doing. You're going to church. You're going into a church and you're looking at, if you want to look this up, if you want to get a little better idea, look up Saint Nikitas. 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 Saint Nikitas. Now, the negative, what that card literally means is an atonement for sins, or great pain, or like you're going somewhere you don't want to go, and that literally is what the card means. So the solution to that card, if you need to, if you want to find some sort of victory in going to this church, is you need to understand that you're sacrificing something, such as a part of yourself, to go do something with family or something that you normally wouldn't want to do. And you'd look at it as an exorcism or as divination or an initiatory rite. Like, it's like an initiation into something. So if you look at it as, like, just observe it differently, listen to really what they're saying, and look at it. Look at, you know, I mean, observe it differently, rather than just like, just knowing that you're going there about to be having people try to cast spells on you, because that's what they're doing. Just watch what they're doing, observe it, make it a learning time for yourself. There it is. So yeah, so just use it as a different experience, right? So you're gonna be at church and look at it different, man. Core, yeah, like it like What's that saying? That you should never let a sucker keep his money. Literally, that's what a church does. They don't let suckers keep their money. The people are very. You can get them. You know, they're like putty for those people. It's the worst thing ever, but it's quite a lesson in psychology, and obviously in higher level magic, because they're all doing some, like, they're not. Most churches, they have no idea, but there's like sorcery and magic and witchcraft going on in very high levels. It funnels down into that. Like most of the people up there at the altar, they believe in their little Jesus guy and whatever, but they don't realize they're selling and slanging they're slanging magical incantations at people. MK, the fire god. Yeah, I get along with fire signs to a degree, to a point. I get along with fire signs very well, like because I'm an air sign. I'm very air based, obviously. That I can blow on the fire, and but that could turn into something good, but it could also I can also piss someone off very fast, or I could blow a fire out. I've done that.
Oh, the mermaid one. Yeah, I faced that
Yeah, there we go, Corey. It's crazy. The pastors are psychologically fucked themselves, which is why they're fucking with everyone they're preaching to. Yeah, what we literally have all across the country is a bunch of little children that grew up to be large children that were depraved and psychologically manipulated and have all sorts of problems that are then, but because the system is in and of itself already decayed and diseased. So, but they don't think so. They don't believe that. They literally believe in the guy, the church's thing, how that system works. They're in there. So it's like, you look at all of these churches and these organizations, like, well, I'm not even mad at the preacher, the pastors or whatever, because there's no way they're there at that stage really believing. Like, yeah, on the really mega churches, I think they pretty much know what they're doing. Those guys, we know who they are. Everybody can find them. But on the smaller levels, like, no, they really, I feel like they believe in that system. They believe in what they're selling. They don't look at it as selling things. They look at it, they really think they're doing some good, and but they're completely mutilated psychologically. So Lionstrong, you say you feel bad for the preacher at your church. You still you come and listen to all the weird things I say, and you still go to church. Like, you have a church. Like, that's interesting to me. But you just kind of go because it's like the family thing, and you don't have a way to navigate out of that. It's weird. Sometimes these things, I never really think about them. I just kind of speak to a blank. I speak to this thing right here. So it's always interesting whenever people send me emails or tell me something about themselves, and like, wow, it's really like, it's wondrous. It's it's interesting, the kind of people that listen to me. Mass behind the altar. It is. I mean, if y'all haven't seen that, anybody that hasn't, that was one of my earlier videos that I made, that I when I was actually making more diagrams and things on the screen. that I showed the altar at the church and what a pagan's worshiping altar would be. It's the same thing, and it's very interesting. they're doing magical rites at the church, but yet they don't see it as magical rites. They don't even connect the fact that it's literally the same thing. At the higher levels, they know what they're doing. At the higher levels, they know they're playing with magic and they're playing with arcanic forces. But at the lower levels, no, they have no clue. Oh, Corey, you know what's funny? I always assumed you were probably pretty deep into the church for a bit. Speaking of Danny Vitalis, you know, I haven't really followed much of his work lately. I liked it in principle when he first started doing it. I really liked a lot of it, but a lot of his philosophy is geared too deep into the words of man. Let me just explain that in the way that I speak. He uses way too much science to back things that he says, that actually then he can qualify what he says through a scientific verbiage, and through the history of man saying, oh no, we evolved. He seems to be the kind of person that believes in evolution, therefore he believes that we should have been eating, blah blah blah. I don't know anything about him to that level, you know, because when I met him, he was vegan. He was yoga, vegan, no animal product, etc., etc. But he also did have this, like, there you go. He had this gearing into using science to, like, verify what he was doing. So in that, a lot of his practices of the rewilding is attached to things that are quasi-scientific, that are faux scientific, that are scientism kind of belief structures that aren't very verifiable. So I don't know what he's done with this in years. I haven't really paid attention to him. Once I knew he was hunting down the deadly deer so he could, you know, bloodlust on the meat and do whatever. I mean, I kind of moved in a different direction. I didn't even, yeah. Alright, Ripe Soul. Oh, cool, guys. Well, I'm glad I can be here to help you along your journey. I didn't see, that's another thing. Like, I don't know who anybody is here. I speak to an open, empty portal, and whatever ear balls they go into to help you along your way. Cool. Exactly. The youngest people are actually some of the oldest, because they got reincarnated again, if you believe in that kind of concept, or their soul was already, like, they're the closest to the portal. If you just came through the portal, you're fresh out the womb, fresh through the thing, straight from spirit, where spirit just lives, not embodied, an unembodied spirit. And then you get thrown through the portal, you're closer if you're younger, so you have a lot more access to, like, it's easier for you to shed off those layers of understanding. And we're back. Apparently this is going to happen a few times today. It's already happened, like, we'll see. Hopefully it'll clean up in a little while when there's less people here. Is that Chrono? I hear you on that, man. You know, again, all of these things are you say you feel like you're younger. Man, it is a mindset. Like, it's all experiential, you know. So you have different levels and different things in your life. If you took the idea, as say the Egyptians did, that you had 360. Well, I don't want to make a broad statement that you can just go look up. Did the Egyptians believe there was really? If you have 360 qualifiers or aspects of a personality, and basically you could be taking a little slider and move it up and down and say, in the level of maturity of humor, where do you fit? In the level of maturity of cognition of mathematics, right? In your level of maturity and how much you've gained in access to the English language or whatever. Like there's all of these different aspects to the person's, being, their soul. The theories sometimes usually wrap around that are 3 things. I like a bigger one that's like there's about 9 types of major forces of personality traits, but then the Egyptians said there was something like 360. And so if we look at it that way, we can, you find yourself people that are like older, but they're dumb as anything, and they're like children about a lot of things. But then you find young kids that have a very big mind about other ideas, that they have an advanced mind. But then you find all of these different variables in between, and then we try to put everyone into this system called school, and we try to literally retard, and level everything out so everybody is exactly at the same level, going up through a graduating system, a cylinder that literally is designed. A cylinder of graduating is literally, by definition, to retard development. School system is, by definition, made to retard development, so that someone can't get too far ahead, and to bring up the low. If someone's falling behind, bring that person up and pull this one down, so that everybody is the same. But in no way is anybody born that way. And this goes into why astrology is so vitally important, to understand what your birthing process gave you, or not the birthing process, when you came through the womb, and all of the energies bore into you certain types of qualities that were, higher or lower. So going into the game, you have, just like in you're playing Zelda, or you're playing whatever, and you can find those different things that some are you're better at, some you're worse at. And we're just adjusting those dials. And if you came into the game knowing what your strengths and weaknesses are, it would be way different. And if we weren't going through a school system that had one teacher in front teaching the mass to one rhythm, things would be way different. And so hopefully that's what all of this, the internet does, is lets people develop the way that they should on their own, with their own curiosities and things that aren't as powerful. They upgrade themselves, and things that they're, this is the great balancer is for the whole world, is really like how people obtain information. The internet has given that freedom of information to everyone, so that they're capable of. There's an overabundance for some people, because we find ourselves wanting more and more information, but knowing not what to do with it. But luckily, we have there's more information now, so that way, when people become the organizers of the information, that they can, here we've got all of the things. We've got all of the tools, we've got all of the parts, now let's construct something.
I mean, it might have been with you. Like, I'm not saying I don't know where, but this is like a really small band right outside.
I hear you on that, Aldrin. I don't. For my age group, which is ancient, it's very few and far between, because people my age, they're already either in their job, in their corporate environment or whatever, and the only people I really can vibe with are artists. That's about it, because artists don't have ages, because they perceive the world through art, for artistic and energy, and they see value completely differently. So therefore they see time differently. So therefore they value people's differently. Their expression is more important than. And so when you say, you would never ask how old an artist is, you would just go, that's an artist. You listen to someone play music, you hear the music, you don't question, there's no, how old is that person? Who cares? You hear the music.
But I mean, you can also, I don't know, I was going to say, but yeah, like,
Hmm. Yeah, sticky icky. Yeah, the ego is an interesting thing, and the whole idea of ants working together. Well, here's the strange thing: is we actually do work together as ants for some, corporate enterprise. There is something that humans do working like ants, and that's actually part of the problem. Is there's not enough energy pushed into everyone being individualistic and creative and forming their own business and life and energy to actually work together as kind of like a flower of life, right? There's all sorts of people grouped together to work for the guy that owns the corporation, though. Right. Yeah, that's what's up, Lion Strong. It's always a race to people. There ain't no races. There's zero races. Ain't nobody in a race to what? Erase races. Like what is there? Rezo, that's one of my favorites. Pair of ants, parents, yes. That's one of my favorites. Mm-hmm.
Are offended.
Tom, good man.
So y'all, who else wanted me to? Yeah, the pineapple can be pretty acidic. Oh, Aldrin, were you saying you were gonna? Is that you earlier saying you were gonna do pineapple and cayenne? You put cayenne on pineapple. And who else said they wanted a card? Yedra, pineapple is a hybrid. Hybrid of what? Because I've gone into this whole thing on hybrids before and saying hybridization is not a bad thing. In fact, it's a very beneficial thing. Because if when we look at it, it's man-made. How did man make a plant? I'm still, yeah. Yeah, I've spoken at length about this before. Like, it don't really. It seems like it's doing something good. It seems edible. It tastes good. GMOs, completely no, not a good idea. Genetically modified, no. There's a lot of problems there, especially when we're finding things that don't have the seeds in it, right? But there's a lot of fruits that were crossbred. Like, look at that'd be akin to saying that an Asian shouldn't have babies with a white person, or a black person shouldn't have. Like, that's what hybridization is. You're a hybrid. You're a hybrid human. Everyone here is a hybrid to some degree. Especially if you consider that, we get into the whole, is there larger things going on in the what's going on in the outer realms, and some ancient different species and what planets and energies are in people. We're all hybrid. Yeah, stickikis, there you go. And Reza, yeah, I think that's it. I definitely think that's. I've said that many times. Out of the 7 deadly sins, well, the only sin was eating. The first sin was eating. It said, "And ate of the apple." As soon as you ate, you took on physical form, and so it's not even a sin, and it's not deadly. It's just that it took the spirit and turned it into a physical format. It gave it some. You were kind of this amalgamation just floating around, And then you said, okay, well, I'm this energy body, and you ate something, and all of a sudden that went into your system and became your skin. That'd be the concept. That'd be the idea, how to visualize it. The first thing that happened is we were spirit and then took physical form by consuming something that was dense, that we didn't need to consume. So it wasn't a sin, it was a sin in the sense of a sine wave, which put us inside of a system. So yeah. So check it out, y'all. I gotta I'm gonna go use the little boy's room, take a pee pee, and I'll be back. Maybe like, I don't know. I gotta see. I don't got that much juice left on here, so we'll see. We'll see. But as always, stay awesome, everybody, and feel free to donate things to me. And yeah, and we'll put I'll bring the cards out for sure later. Like we'll play a lot with the cards later. We'll see who shows up. But yeah, do cool things, inspire the world. If you can't do that, at least inspire yourself. Talk soon, y'all.